So you want to start a social media campaign, but don't know where to start? We have all been there. Today I'm going to share with you how to start a social media campaign from scratch. First, I want to tell you what you need to decide and settle on before you even think about setting up your social media campaign. A lot of people get started without this, but if you want to maximize your cash flow, you need this. Then I want to tell you my strategy for creating a marketing calendar that strategically leads into your launch. Then I'll tell you a story about how I created an entire campaign around my online virtual event, what worked for us, what didn't work for us, but it led us to a 6-figure day. So I'll share that whole campaign with you. Before you even think about setting up your social media campaign, we want to reverse engineer the outcome. It's crazy to me that some people don't think about that when they're creating a social media campaign. And what I like to call that is just creating content for the sake of content. We're creating content for an outcome, for a result. We want to generate leads, we want to nurture those leads, and we want to convert those leads into sales. So you got to know, what's the outcome of this campaign? Do you want to sell 100 tickets to an event? Do you want to bring 10 people into your coaching program? What's the outcome so that we can reverse engineer? How much advertising do we have to do? How many people are we trying to reach? And what are the different methodologies that we're going to achieve that? If you have a picture in your mind of what success looks like, what ROI you want to achieve, and what your goals are, from there you can determine the steps towards creating your marketing calendar. This is also going to help you to set a budget, and not that you have to use any paid advertising strategies, but if you're saying that you want to be able to reach a lot more people, having some ad spend will certainly help. When you can reverse engineer this, you'll also know what platforms you want to be on, what your content is going to look like, how you're going to reach people, what your pre-launch looks like, what the urgency and scarcity is going to look like to get people to take action. You always have to have these strong calls to action that gives your audience a reason to act fast. So make sure that as you're reverse engineering and you know what platforms you want to be on, what the audiences you want to reach, how many people you want to reach, you can decide from there, what does the content look like to reach those people? Are you going to do paid strategies, organic strategies? Are you going to do affiliate launches? Are you going to collaborate and do JVs? There's multiple different things, but the first thing you need before anything else is knowing what the outcome is so you can create that campaign. I'd love to know from you, what platforms do you prefer promoting on? Let me know in the comments below. What's worked well for you? Where's your audience hanging out? What are you going to double down on for your next campaign strategy? Let me know. The next thing I recommend that you decide for your campaign strategy is, what stories are you going to insert into your campaign? Now, I say stories because that's the way that you captivate an audience. Growing up, I loved stories. I loved movies. I loved growing up with Disney movies. And I recognize how that shaped so much of my beliefs. Now, if you consider how your stories can shape your audience's beliefs, that's what's going to also shape your campaign and the success of your campaign. What stories can you tell your audience that will overcome their objections or overcome any limiting beliefs that they have? I might share my personal story of how I used to be a dental hygienist and now I'm the CEO of a 7-figure company. And if I'm teaching people how they can build their businesses, maybe by me sharing my personal stories and the things that I've had to overcome can help them instill belief in themselves that maybe I can do this too. Think about that for yourself. Like, what stories are your personal stories that you can share? Or what are stories that you've heard that can relate to the message that you're trying to portray in your campaign? I have a framework that I like to use for storytelling. I call it the Elsa framework. And yes, Elsa, you might think of the Snow Queen, the Disney Queen, but for these purposes, do not let it go. This is very important for your storytelling. The acronym ELSA stands for Epiphany, Lesson, Story, Application. So for every piece of content you're creating, here's how I want you to approach it. The first letter in ELSA is for E, that's for epiphany. What's the epiphany that you want your audience to take away from this? If nothing else, what's the one thing that they can walk away with that will be this aha moment for them, a big shift for them? So I think of, if my epiphany is, hey, you can do this too. I went from being a dental hygienist to having a 7-figure business. You can do this too. That's maybe the epiphany that I want them to have. The L is for lesson. What's the lesson that I can give them? What are the maybe tangible takeaways, the steps that they can implement themselves? But the way that I do that is through the S in ELSA for story. How can I share a story that's going to, tug at their heartstrings or give them that emotional shift? Because when people buy in emotionally, that makes them more likely to buy in financially. So what's the story that I can tell them that can, evoke an emotion, whether it's making them laugh or tugging at their heartstrings, but also giving them this strong moral to the story that gives them this belief in themselves? And the A in ELSA is for application. What's the takeaway? What's the thing that they can now execute? What's the call to action that they can follow to take the next step? The other thing to consider in your campaign is how you can differentiate it from everything you've done in the past to create this like new thing that you're bringing to the market, an opportunity switch. I'll give you an example. I have a client named Wayne Lee. He is a world-renowned hypnotist. He has traveled the world. He has spoken on stages. He has hypnotized people all over the world. And he wanted to create a way that he can serve his clients online. Now, people know him as a hypnotist, but instead of just saying, hey, I'm doing this service online now, or I'm offering these hypnotism courses, we created some proprietary messaging around his methodologies. So instead of just being Wayne Lee, the hypnotist, we then also created Wayne Lee's proprietary mechanisms. So what we created for him is something that he calls the subconscious reset. And when you think about it, it does align with his expertise as a hypnotist, but his campaign was around his subconscious reset strategy. And inside of that, he's teaching his mental endgame activation system. So he could have talked about hypnotism, he could have talked about mindset, but we created these proprietary mechanisms and led in his campaign with these things that you would never hear of before. Like, these aren't things that everyone's talking about. If we were just talking about mindset, which yes is a big part of what he does, people can Google mindset, they can find mindset anywhere. But Wayne Lee's strategy, the mental endgame activation system or the subconscious reset, that's proprietary to him and is what's going to make him stand out among the competition. Now with that, I want to share with you my strategy for creating a campaign calendar that perfectly leads into your launch. And I've done tons of launches, and I've also turned things into evergreens, so you don't always have to be in this launch mindset. But regardless, it's so important that with whatever you're launching or whatever you're putting out into the world, that you reverse engineer the outcome like we talked about, and reverse engineer the calendar too. If I know that I have an event that I'm going to do on September 1st, I'm going to work backwards to find how much time do I need for like our open cart, our sales window? How much time do I need for our pre-launch window? How much time do I need for my team to get all of our resources together and write the content, come up with the advertisements, film everything we need? I don't want to be rushed or working overtime, killing ourselves to get everything out, putting on way too much pressure. So we reverse engineer the outcome, and we also reverse engineer the calendar. And this is exactly what we did when I launched my event Content Machine Live. I'll share with you the whole story. It was an incredible campaign. But before we get into that, make sure you hit that subscribe button, because I'm going to be sharing more of these strategies with you every week to help you to scale your business to 6 and 7 figures. So in September of 2020, I launched my first virtual event. It's called Content Machine Live, and it was my first event and an incredible event. We made over $100,000 in one day, which was amazing because most people, especially on their first events, are just trying to break even. But with our marketing strategy that built up so much hype before the event even started, it made the event so successful. I actually have an entire video on my channel where I go through the entire strategy. We show you the entire marketing calendar, what we did every day leading up to the launch, and what we did to create so much hype, so much excitement that we had a huge influx of ticket sales and made it a very successful event with some world-renowned speakers at the event. I share everything with you, so go check out that video too. The thing with any kind of launch is the typical customer behavior is to wait until the last minute to buy, which can be pretty terrifying for marketers when you launch something and it doesn't sell until like last minute. It can make you think that the product isn't working, or people don't like it, or your marketing isn't working. So instead, what we do is when we reverse engineer our marketing calendar, we're also intentionally inserting urgency and scarcity to get people to purchase all throughout the open cart window. So even if you have an open cart window of 1 week or 1 month, you want to make sure that you have something every day that's incentivizing people to buy. Now again, I go into this way more in depth in my video where I explain how we marketed our event Content Machine Live. But one of the things that we did is we had a whole month of a marketing calendar. So before we launched, we had this huge pre-launch about the event. We were creating all this hype. We didn't say what it was, but we said that something was going to be announced that created this hype that people were so excited to know what it was. Then when we did announce it, it was this huge bang, everyone was excited, and we put in a 48-hour early bird pricing that if you buy your tickets in the first 48 hours, you get it at a discount. That gave us a huge influx of ticket sales. But if we stopped there, our sales would have gone stagnant and people probably wouldn't purchase until like the few days before the event. So what we did was we inserted more urgency and scarcity. We gave them bonuses if they purchased on certain days. We announced the other speakers that were going to be speaking at Content Machine Live. What I did was I would do a Facebook Live with one of the speakers, Christy Code Red, for example, and we would announce what she was going to be talking about at Content Machine Live. She shared her incredible story of how she went from food stamps to $10 million in 3 years. So that should create some hype of like, don't you want to see that? But also we said, if you purchase your ticket today, you're also going to get this additional bonus from Christy Code Red. And we did that every day for several days as we announced the speakers, which gave people more incentive to buy. Then I gave them more urgency saying, hey, we're sending you out these Content Machine kits, and if you don't purchase before this date, we can't guarantee that they'll be able to ship to you in time. So that created some urgency. So think about in any of your marketing campaigns, whether it's for an event, whether it's for maybe you're selling a course or a service or anything that has a kind of a closed cart window, what can you be doing to incentivize your audience to act fast? How can you reverse engineer that calendar, and on that calendar give them a reason to take action and sign up or purchase or work with you? Other things that you can do throughout your launch, or really through anything that you're creating, is to show the behind the scenes regularly in your content. In my Instagram stories, even today, I was showing behind the scenes of me filming today and saying, stay tuned for my YouTube channel that you can watch this video of where I'm talking about all of these subjects. So it's creating hype for your regular day-to-day content, but you could also be creating hype for your launches or your products and services by regularly showing behind the scenes of who you are and what it's like working with you. If you want to learn more about creating content that converts into cash flow, I have a free training for you. You can click the link below and get access to that today.